What is up, 7 Days to Die fans? It is your boy Ojama here. It's back with another episode of 7 Days to Die, and I had a fan request from Suzunami777. Sorry if I said your name wrong. If you would like something, he is just beginning his 7 Days to Die journey. He's finding these useful. Thank you very much for that. I really appreciate that. I'm trying, you know, like if I'm not doing a good job, tell me, let me know so I can try to fix it. But I'm really helpful that I've been able to just like make good videos for you guys, or you know, at least be a little bit helpful. But he asked specifically for something on perks and builds would be awesome if I haven't done one already. I kind of did a class breakdown a little bit here. You know, I did that one video about classes, but not necessarily perks. I did kind of an overview here. So I just wrote down perks plus kind of build orders here. So that's going to be kind of what I'm going to try to focus on. Again, you guys know me. I don't really like script it too much. I got kind of an outline here to talk about, and it's just perks and build orders. Like, for instance, let's say the first 10 levels. That's what we're going to try to do. As always, this is from my last video I just shot yesterday for you guys, or came out today or whatever. But let's just, you know, chill. We're just going to sit here. We're going to chill. We're going to look at the menus together, okay? So in here, not that important, but let us just break down all of the skills. Let's just talk about them all. And then I'll kind of tell you which way I think you should go. We all know what I'm going to say. I'll just get this out of the way. I believe the best start for 7 days, the meta, most effective tactic available for any player, you're going to want to go. Oh, I forgot to shrink myself. Sorry about that. Before the video is completely ruined, let me just do that real quickly. I guess it's a little early in the video. I could just reshoot it, but I think it'll be fine. So I think this makes me out of the way enough that it's not going to bother anything. Okay, so I'll stay down here for today's video. But so let's jump into it. The first build is, I call it the Stuntman Rush. This is your the new Messiah, the best start. This unlock, you know what I mean? Like, could you imagine having like a 20-inch vertical, and then all of a sudden the next day you have a 40-inch vertical? That is essentially the Stuntman Rush, and you get it for one level. You do the trader quest and then one level. So then with that you're able to get level 4 agility. And then level 2 Stuntman here, allowing you to jump up, again, just in case this is your first video, jump 2 blocks instead of just 1 block, because your normal jump is 1 block, which is good. You can get a lot of places, but with the stunt, a lot of places a normal person can get to, the zombies can follow you, because normal zombies can jump 1, but normal zombies cannot jump 2 unless they pile up each other, but you can knock them down or whatever, but they cannot very easily get up 3. So, you know what I mean? You could do stuff like this, you know? Well, not that good. That wasn't very good showcase. Oh, I am encumbered too, so it's messing up the what I thought I had for a jump. But anyway, that is the best start. Okay, I think regardless of your class, was just such a low investment that is such a high return of value just for doing that for perks. But anyway, yeah, I just want to run through everything just from just to give you a full picture. Okay, so we got the perception, strength, fortitude, agility, intellect, perk, books, crafting skills. These I'm not really going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about just your skills, your skill trees here, and we'll just start with perception. Perception is, you know, you have 1 through 10, oblivious to boom, headshot, and kind of how perks break down is they give you low barriers for low investing. For the lower levels, it's low points, but as you push down, it requires more points to get invested, more heavily invested into a skill tree. That's why I describe them as classes, because if you commit a lot of points, you're kind of locked into one skill. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? So like, say for instance, you spend like 12 points or like 13 points to get to power lifter. It's going to take you a little bit longer to get to level whatever the next level is, because if we look at skills, our XP to next level here, if I go give self XP 100,000. Now I'm level 9. Okay, so 100,000 zombies or 100,000 XP just for I'm gonna pull up my calculator here and do the math real quick. 100,000 XP zombie wise in the early game is 250 zombie kills. Okay, so that's a lot of zombie kills for the early game. You know what I mean? You're not. It's like, you may get that towards your first horde night, but that's 7 hours into the game, okay? Does that make sense? So that means, like, if you the more you go into the game, the longer it takes for you to get levels, more or less. You unlock different levels. I'm gonna go over here actually. Sorry. I like to talk with my hands. You unlock different ways to level up, like if you upgrade to concrete structures, that actually turns into like one of the best ways to get experience and stuff like that. But whatever. That's what I mean by skill classes. So like picking your skills early and cautiously. That's why, like in my other videos, I say don't spend all your points until you're sure you know what you want to spend them on. Save them up so you can spend a bunch at the same time. Because if you have 1 point available to you, you'll kind of just chuck it wherever what kind of seems good at the moment. But if you kind of have a path, like I want to get, I want to be able to scavenge a lot and get the most out of my scavenging when I start scavenging. So I'm going to save up for 7 perception. So then, you know what I mean? Like that'll be more committed. But then that, yeah. Sorry. So there's different ways of doing it. Perks, though. So how long have I been talking? 5 minutes, just kind of randomly. Okay, so perks. Let's just talk about perks. You got Perception, which is going to give you 200% headshot damage. So the core thing you get from leveling up your skills gives you extra headshot damage and a critical hit. We'll call them critical hits. Chance to dismember with certain combat traits inside of that tree. So for Perception, it is rifles, explosives, spears, and tools. And it gives you extra headshot damage. Each level is about 10% and a 5% crit. So that's what you do there. The first perk here is called Deadeye. And it is essentially just your base damage increaser for a rifle. Each class is going to have a set of weapons. The combat perks, general perception perks, and scavenging perks. So you have like combat utility skills within this perk, and then like whatever, some random third niche. But yeah, so you got pot shot. It's going to increase your damage and your aim and reload, which is very strong. The faster you can aim down sights, the faster you can reload. All this other stuff allows you to be more versatile with that weapon, allowing you to play harder in harder scenarios and just get out of spots better. And the further you commit down one path, the one you like, you're going to have higher scalability with it. You'll be able to complete higher POIs faster than if you were to do like a spread. Like if you were to do like one Deadeye and then one on Boomstick and then one on the Brawler, you know what I mean? And just kind of spread that way. You're going to get a lot more scale, more bang for your buck the more you commit to one path. Because if you if you split up into a hybrid, people ask me about hybrids. Okay. I'm getting way too into the rings. We'll get to that because that's build orders here. That's the second part here. I'll talk about build orders in a minute. Let's get through the perks. So that demolitions. Oh, also that when you go down Rifleman, as you go down these a lot of these weapons, you'll get into bonus perks. So like by 3 is usually when they come online, and the rifle is kill streak. So successive kills increase damage bonus by 10% to 20% to a maximum of 30%, which is really, really, really good, especially when you start getting stuff like the Penetrator online, which allows you to puncture targets with your shots. And fun fact, all rifles with armor-piercing rounds penetrate one target inherently, I think. I tried it with a sniper rifle. This one might get a little bit longer than I wanted to, but I'm not, whatever. If it does, it does. Normally when they're long, I could remake them and condense them. But anyway, so we're going to go hunting rifle. This is your basic bread and butter. Now I gotta grab me a armor. I just want to test this to make sure you guys are good. I don't want to tell you something that's not true. So we're gonna get this. I'm pretty sure with armor piercing and no penetrator, I should be able to punch through both of these guys at the same time. Yeah, I hit them both. Okay, so with armor piercing, it gives you kind of a level 1 penetrator just off the bat. So that is a perk with so you got me. I didn't get a double kill, but I was able to take him out the game. Anyway, so there's that. Just I wanted to say that about rifles. And then when you stack that with penetrator, you get more penetration. So this would be 2. This would be 3. And I'm guessing that would be 4, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But you do get a base penetration with an armor-piercing round, which is really, really cool. It's just really convenient. I don't want these guys to distract me while I'm talking. Anyway, yep, so rifle is pretty cool, really strong. Demolitions Expert, we don't get a extra perk here. It's just an increase to your damage, base damage, reload speed, aim 20% faster, and a dismemberment chances and stuff like that. So, like, this is really good, and, like, this may seem a little... it's not even necessary to put these points in for the early game explosives, but this is where, like, an explosion An explosive is going to scale up 10% damage to 10 targets is like 100% damage on something else. Does that make sense? So it's actually really pretty strong. The damage scale, the scale of damage here for this perk is really big, so it is worth considering, depending on how many explosives you can get your hands on. I would wait to put points into it until you knew you had a good stock of grenades or something like that. Spearmaster, spears, again, it's just all the combat perks, they increase damage and then apply bonus effects, depending on what it is. The spear has the ability to slow, and it has really long range, and the whatever. So you and when killing blows, the spears give you they give you stamina back. So that's pretty strong too. So that you can get a nice little consecutive stabs over and over again, and then really just build momentum and take out huge groups of zombies at the same time. So again, this is where where I was kind of commenting before. The more you commit to something, the more you'll be able to scale up because you'll be on an earlier game stage. So your earlier points will be worth more on an earlier game stage as well, because if you have a huge damage boost and all these extra passive effects when the zombies are low level because they level with you, you're getting more bang for your buck earlier, so it allows you to take on harder challenges earlier before the game stage gets more difficult. And then these PO5 are these tier 5 PO5s. Sorry. Tier 5 POIs, point of interests, with 100 game stage is going to be a lot harder than doing a Tier 5 POI at 50 game stage. You know what I'm saying? Because the game stage is going to determine the baseline difficulty, what types of zombies spawn, how often screamers come, how often wandering hordes come, irradiated zombies, yada, whites, all these different arrays of zombies and stuff like that. So it allows you to, if you commit to a build, I'm mixing perks and build orders in, so whatever. I'm gonna fly back and forth. But so committing is stronger, I believe, than a hybrid. But it is. They're both viable ways of playing. It all depends on what your objectives are. So then each of these these attributes have with their melee, they'll have a perk of to attack faster, and your first perk is going to be worth the most, your second one's going to be worth the least, and your third one's going to be worth the second most, because as you can see, your 10% for 1 point is worth more than one more point, only giving you 7%, and then your third one though, your third one is a little bit better than your first one, or second one, sorry. So the first one, for sure, grab early, but maybe wait till you have extra points and you've committed to a lot of other things that you want to make sure you really get before you drop into these two. Or if you're going an all melee build and you don't want to even put into this, maybe rushing this up to 3 would be a very strong tactic to use as well. Because maybe you roll the steel spear early or something like that, and you just have a really strong melee game. You're really comfortable fighting melee, doing all that type of stuff. Especially at something like spears, I would even suggest maybe doing kind of a melee only build oriented, where you're not this is kind of your secondary. And these two are kind of your secondaries because the spear is like a gun. It is like a 2 to 3 block range, so you can fight most zombies without in clearing scenarios, and in clearing scenarios, and then out in the wilderness. Maybe not so much unless you have a melee base that you've designed that is specifically for melee, because I know a lot of people, I saw Jawoodle just put one out on a short a few days ago, that there's melee bases that work really well, and if you have higher stab, you'll be able to. I also want to note that leveling these up reduces the amount of stamina each of these weapons uses, so then you're able to then utilize that extra attack speed and not completely drain out your stamina. So then, general perception perks. The Infiltrator. This is kind of not that big of a deal. If you're playing on a public server with PvP, I would say this is a little bit more one to maybe think about picking up, but this isn't. This is kind of it's a cool concept, but there are no landmines. Loose boards, sure. You know what I mean? But a lot yeah, okay. So there's that. Loose boards are pretty often, and if you're let's see. If you're unaware of a lot of, again, because I'm trying to speak from a newer player's perspective, and the first POIs, when you go through POIs, one of the first things that got me too was loose boards, traps, and stuff like that. So I can completely understand coming from that perspective that that would be a pretty decent perk to pick up. That would be kind of newbie friendly. But I think it's also kind of one of these perks. We'll get to other perks that are like this, but I feel kind of noob traps and putting points into them kind of detract from a lot of other value you can get. Because let's say for instance, if you picked up Mole, Trespasser, Infiltrator instead of going for Parkour, Stuntman, yeah, you might trigger floorboards that you may never go into a house versus being able to jump 2 blocks everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, even if you fell down the floorboards with parkour, you'd be able to jump out.
Thank God it's almost closing time. I've had enough bullshit for one day.
Yes, sir. Anyway, so then this one, you can pick this up if you really want to. I don't think this is super valuable. Like, this would be low priority. I'll just call it. All the perks are good, but this would be low priority for me personally. Unless like you were playing with a team. The niche is if you're playing with your team and your task specifically with like trying to find food for your team, then this would be a lot more valuable in a team support scenario. But like if you're doing solo play, you have to really rely on yourself, and then you have to pick, in my opinion, the highest value perks available to you. Penetrator, I wouldn't go into this really until you started picking up AP rounds. That's just me, but you could go into it because it does ignore armor, and there's certain like military zombies, demolition zombies.
Trader Rick is now closed, so get off my lawn.
All right. So I would just like wait till. Personally, I would wait till AP to grab this stuff. Essentially, what it does is it allows you to penetrate extra zombies, so it gives you more damage economy for your 7.6 rounds with your rifles. With a sniper rifle, this is very, very powerful because it says you can hit 4 targets, but I think it might be 5 with the AP round allowing you to penetrate another one. So we'll just say 4 targets just to be safe. You can kill 4 targets with 1 shot, and that is 1 bullet versus like the automatic weapon that uses a 7.62, requiring 4 bullets to kill 4 targets. The sniper rifle then having like a 12 to 15 round clip with an extended mag and all this other stuff. It allows you to really just rinse zombies down by just shooting in a line. Like if you have a ramp, like a staircase base, and you're looking down while they're running up at you, you have a perfect vantage sight, downhill advantage or uphill advantage, pointing down into their heads, and you can just go bang, 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 and just clear off entire stairways. So like your 12 shots are really going to be hitting 48 targets. Really strong perk late game, kind of like, and it's okay early game if you want to ignore 10 to 15% of armor, but you kind of want to get away from perks that like, when you're picking perks early, you want to pick perks that give you value in as many scenarios as possible. That's why, like, again, I'm just going to go back to Stuntman all the time. This is going to be relevant in a lot of scenarios. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of the game is you needing to get through the environment, and this gives you a vertical option to like skip things. It gives you options to get out of fights. It just gives you a lot of versatility, a lot of the time. Like, but then on the other hand, you have something like the Penetrator, which will sometimes give you value if you have. These are okay. So it's like a Yu-Gi-Oh thing. They're more circumstantial. So the perks that are less circumstantial or more circumstantial, you might want to just like be a little bit cautious putting points into them into the early game because, like again, you just early game. You want to get a build order started and defined because as the game progresses a little bit, you're going to be waiting longer and longer to get more perks. So it's important to get the highest amount of leverage meaning the highest amount of impact for your points in the early game, in my opinion, just so you can really snowball ahead of that game stage and keep the ball rolling really well, or stay ahead of the game, you know what I mean? So then when we're getting into the scavenging perks, something like this is a decent, like if you're committing to perception, this is a good one to go into because you are adding 5% to loot bonus. I don't know exactly what that translates to, like what you're getting, like how much more extra loot. You could just say 5%, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're getting 5% more everywhere. You just get a 5% chance to get a little bit better tiered loot, maybe. I'm not 100% sure, but I know for sure looting 10% faster is going to allow you to play the game 10% faster, okay? In the situations that you're looting a POI, if you're one of those players who wants to loot an entire POI instead of just doing what I did in my beginner coach series and just getting quest loot, this will make that a lot more efficient and economic for you and give you like huge boost to your economy. Because one of the reasons why I'm skipping doing that in my playthrough is because I do not have this perk, so it becomes less worth my time to loot multiple things. But if you max this out, Lucky Looter, 80% faster loot speed, you're clicking a bag and you're looting it immediately. You're clicking a nest and you're looting it immediately. Like those things that I loot pretty fast just on my own or in other videos you've seen, you're doing that to like almost twice as fast. And that makes everything, like you can loot an entire POI literally almost twice as fast as me. So then it becomes like each, you know what I mean? You can get through 2 times as many houses as I can. So like, that is a lot of value. It's just a lot of value. It's just what I'm saying here. This is kind of a, like I said, circumstantial. And I think that's a really good term to say. And I hate that I came up with it this late in the video, but live and learn, right? This is very circumstantial. This is very good if you want to do buried treasure quests and you see those often, pick it up. If you're committed to this perception build or whatever, but it is low priority because it is very circumstantial. Another reason why I would grab this is if I had treasure maps stored up. Essentially what you do when you get treasure maps, just a quick tip, don't just do them right away, because if you have low tool availability, like stone shovels and stuff like that, it will take you the entire day, maybe more, to do one chest at a low game stage level, which will give you low loot. I mean, it's a chance. It could be really high value loot, but it's just like we're trying to play a game of like it's a numbers game, you know what I mean? And like you want to get as many rolls on the good stuff as fast as possible, but this like significantly slows that down. But if you're in the late game, even if you don't have perks into the mining, but you have an auger, it doesn't matter if you have those perks or not, because you're just digging through dirt. So then this becomes immediately relevant because it goes from 7 blocks and drops it to 3, and then increases the 30% more items in buried treasure, makes it just immediately more overpowered. So then if you get like 10, so essentially how you play treasure maps is you get like 10 of them and you plan out an entire day to do them, or an entire couple days to do them, especially with a vehicle, because when you pop so like having a motorcycle or a 4x4 is going to really turn this on too, because if you pop a map, you're going to be having to go like 800 meters to maybe 1 kilometer away, and that'll really disrupt your plans and really get in the way of like preparing for the next Horde Night. So like the Horde Nights are very difficult early, but they're very difficult early. Then you'll hit this period where they're not that bad, and then they'll get back to being difficult again because they'll really scale up and ramp up based on your game stage. But if you can get ahead of the early ones, then you can keep 7 days to staying ahead of the game. So that's what I mean. Salvage operations, really, really, really strong, and this could be your main economy for this type of playthrough, because once you get a ratchet, once you get a wrench, once you get this type of stuff, the impact driver, and you start breaking down cars, you start breaking down ovens, you can loot an entire POI, and then you can loot its guts. Like you can take apart all the beds for pipes, for cloth, you could break down stuff for electrical components, mechanical parts, you could break it down for batteries, you could break it down for whatever, yada yada yada, all this loot. You'll be raiding in loot. With Lucky Looter maxed out and Salvage Operations maxed out, you'll be raining the loot, the raw materials and stuff like that. Like, you may not have a lot of fancy, like, high tier stuff, but you'll have a lot of stuff, so you'll be really, really contributing. And this is really strong, especially in a team play, to go into, like, Lucky Looter Salvage Operations and make that, like, your kind of thing. Like a rifle or a spear Lucky Looter Salvage Operations guy, and then you just kind of, like, roam the towns, not really doing quests, and just kind of break them all down or something like that. Like, loot/break them down. Maybe do a quest, but then, like, break the whole house down and loot it out instead of just doing the quest and going home. Like, in your team, you'll all go do a quest together, and then your role after everybody clears the POI, the quest owner gets the end loot, and then everybody leaves and goes on their day or whatever. You just stay behind and break everything down. That will be really strong, just for like getting a huge economy for your team going. So that's the Perception class. I've ranked this before, and I do think Perception is the second best. So now let's move on to Strength. Strength combat perks. It is the same. You have this same. All the attributes kind of have the same theme. You know, it's extra headshot damage, and it's a critical. We'll call it critical hit. Greater chance to dismember. Which, if you dismember a head, it's an instant kill. So that's what I'm saying. All right. So we got Boomstick here. Okay, so I used to think shotguns were a lot worse, but see here that this is new to 1.0, I think, or I mean, I haven't played vanilla for a while, but we have an increased damage, we have increased fire rate, and a 10% faster reload. Pretty good, but then you can stun enemies for 6 seconds. Depending on what your spread is for the shotgun, I'd have to test it still, but hypothetically, this sounds really strong. That, like the pipe shotgun, maybe you got a couple on your belt. Whatever a stun means, is that like knockdown, or they just can't move for 6 seconds? 6 seconds is a long time. So like, if you got a few of them coming up on you and you just kind of hip fire, spray, and now they can't move for 6 seconds, you can get out of any situation with one shotgun shell, making this a lot. I still think it's the worst out of them, but it gives it actually a niche that I think that the pipe shotgun needed for a long time. Again, shotguns, great. Pipe shotgun, horrible. Okay, especially for beginners, because the pipe shotgun is very misleading. You think shotgun, okay, blast zombie, your standard zombie movie gun, but like when you have to get into a melee range to hit a zombie with enough of the spread with the pipe shotgun to kill them with a headshot, and you're almost within melee range, and then the reload speed reduces your walk by 80%, your run speed about 80%, so that it allows other zombies to close in on top of you, making it a not very good weapon compared to the other pipe weapons. Just in my opinion, but yeah, but that is pretty good. So we got more stun. But at level 1, getting the stun too is pretty strong too. So like if that's what you're committing to, that's pretty good. But like I said, double barrel shotgun, all of a sudden this becomes online because the reload speed's fast as heck. The damage is really high, etc. And then you have like the pump shotgun, which is like arguably I think one of the best guns in the game. The pump shotgun just like puts down consistent damage, da-da-da. Plus you have slug rounds and all this other stuff, and shotguns really bloom into something really great. But the early game that is not very strong. And like I said, my content is more specifically geared for newer players, which is why I try to talk to you guys in the new player context. What's going to help a new player versus somebody who is like a lot of hours in the game. Different things are going to be better for them, okay? So hopefully that kind of makes sense. Then we have this thing, Pummel Pete, which is your club booster. You know, reducing stamina, increasing damage, stuff like that. Plus then the passive is that you have a power attack to knock foes down. Now in Darkness Falls, the mod pack that I play, this is on your primary attack that does 60% knockdown. And that I would put clubs as like S tier. Tied with knives, but because it's a power attack, I don't like that. When you power attack, it reduces your stamina regeneration for a few seconds here. Let me see if I could trigger that. So if I stab with my knife, it's immediately bringing back stamina there. But if I power attack, it's about a 2-second delay that you don't regain any stamina. So like locking a perk like this behind a power attack kind of just makes it a little bit weaker in my eyes. Anyway. But you are reducing the stamina, whatever. Anyway, so now you have Bruiser, which is your clubs, your sledgehammers and stuff. Sledgehammers do more damage. I know that. So sledgehammers, I feel, are okay. They're kind of like a one-hitter quitter for like one zombie at a time, but it's not really... You're dealing with mobs, like packs, not one target at a time and stuff like that. I know some people swear by sledgehammers. I just don't really see the appeal, especially when it's only a 15% chance of knockdown. Like I said, I think the thing that would make sledgehammers like overpowered and like on the same level as the other melee weapons is if it had a cleave. Like, you know, when you swing your sledgehammer, you go doink, 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 and hit like 6 targets at the same time. And I know there's glancing blows, but I'm talking about like full damage cleave. A cleave, like in other video games, is like you're hitting an entire wave of enemies at the same time. And if it had like a guaranteed knockdown, because you'd think so, it would because of the weight of the weapon and the amount of stamina it costs. It takes like 45 stamina to do one power attack, so then you're using stamina on one power attack, 45. So you're draining almost half your stamina. You're running around too, sprinting and stuff, so you're also draining doing that. But then for 2 seconds, you are negating stamina regeneration. I just don't get the... Unless you're doing it for fun, I don't think it's like very high rank. So, sorry about that. 1 sec. Thinking fast, you just swing faster. Same thing as the other one. Heavy armor. So now this is type of good stuff here. The general strength perks pretty okay. If you're going to play a armor build, I made a video about this before. That like if you're not committing to a certain armor and getting points into this. Medium armor and heavy armor is kind of bad. But if you do max this out, but it does require you to commit to 7. So you need 4 points here. So 8 more points. Plus then 12 points to commit to a full armor build. Which is what it is. You are a tank. You become a lot less killable. So that is not worthless. And that is pretty noob friendly, it sounds like to me. But still... The movement and the stamina penalty is still pretty high. It's only reducing it by 25%. With this many points, I would want to see that like at least 50 to 75% for it to be cooler. But I mean, like whatever. This does make it more playable. Pack Mule. I don't think it's really worth your time. I mean, pick it up if you got extra points. You're committing this anyway. But I would. Master Chef, pretty good. You need that. If you're going into strength, you should level this up so you can get yourself high, good recipes and stuff like that, and get your food and stuff online a lot faster. Okay, so you're not bothering me. Miner 69er. This is also like you're gonna have a gatherer. Like if you're playing on a team, this is really really strong. This is really good solo play too because you get a lot of building materials by mining. You can get iron, you can get nitrate, you can get coal, you can get all this other stuff: lead, oil shale, wood, dirt, sand, rocks, you name it. Like all this stuff that like is really really good for. Is there any like extra buffs? No, but I mean, like, this is really good. This is essential for any team, and it is a solid playthrough strategy. And it would offset how bad I think shotguns are in the early game to even go for this because of these 2 perks down here. This is this is almost as good, but this is like your bread and butter of like any 7 days playthrough. Eventually, you will be going into these because you will find yourself underground like Minecraft. This is why I call this game Minecraft for adults. You will be mining, and this is very, very essential for a long playthrough. So like 40, 50, 60 plus hours into a playthrough, you will have Miner 69 leveled up. You have Motherload leveled up. It is a very strong perk. Fortitude. This is going to be like the agility. If you were going to do a hybrid, let's see how long I've been talking so far. 30 fucking minutes. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'm going to try to like. I'm not going to talk about build orders. I'm just going to talk about perks, and I'll make build orders another video. So this will be kind of an in-depth breakdown for perks and stuff like that, and like how they're important, where they're important, if you should get them or not, whatever. And like kind of like the gist of build orders is I think you should commit to one class up to like finishing something out. Like let's say Miner 69er, whatever that is, 7 and a 7 before you really start to put points into other stuff. Like just rushing something all the way down is going to leverage. It's going to give you a lot more advantage in the early game, get ahead of the game stage, allow you to really, you know what I mean, that type of stuff, than doing like a hybrid build early, at least. With the nuance that everybody should have Stuntman, that would be the hybrid for everybody. So anyway, yeah. So Fortitude, you have Punching. Punching has like a chance to blow heads up and killing blows and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, but it's not. This is like kind of the lower end. Like they're fast. It's like knives without bleed. So it's like. It's kind of bad. Knives without bleed, I would completely say knives are not worth anybody's time, is because the bleed is what makes knives really, really good. Machine gunner, you know what I mean? This is your Call of Duty class. This is like everybody's favorite thing, is spraying and praying and putting down zombies and letting the lead fly and just all the noise and all the spraying and the zombies' heads exploding and da-da-da-da-da. Really fun, really good stuff. Plus, if you hit with, it has like a sort of a run and gun. This is kind of like the Fortitude playthrough is kind of like your runner and gunner. This would be like a pure quester. Like a quester would be running this. And then like I can only imagine because punching is really fast. 25% faster punching would be like really nice. Huntsman. Pretty good, you know what I mean? This is kind of like a situational if you value hunting, good, but it's a very circumstantial perk, so it's not high on the priority list. This is like these two are kind of those noob trap perks. A lot of people I see, like when I see them play 7 days and they're not really sure what to do, they just don't like these two things, so they don't like. Oh, wait. Living off the land is really good. Sorry. Well insulated. There was another one that was. Oh, Iron Gut down here is the other one. Sorry about that. Well insulated. Like they don't know how to deal with like. If you know how to deal with the biomes, this becomes immediately like kind of worthless. It's kind of good for the late game when you like whatever you got points you don't know what to spend them on. But this is kind of a low priority, kind of a noob trap, like a point waster. And same with Iron Gut here. I'll just skip to it. It just makes it so that you use less food and water, which sounds good, but food and water aren't hard to come by once you have the knowledge. Like once you understand the flow of 7 days and where things really come into play, it's really tough to like justify this. I don't know. It's just there's a lot more important things to grab early, especially. This is what I mean here. It's very circumstantial. So moving on. This is pretty good. If you know what I mean. This is pretty good. This is just pretty good. There's not too much to say about it. You know what I mean. There's like double the harvest. 50% chance to harvest additional crop. Triple the harvest.
Trader Wrecked is open for business. Buy wrecked or get wrecked.
And like, you know, 3 cotton, 3 chrysanthemum, 3 goldenrod, 3 harvest, 3 corn, 3 potatoes, 3 everything. Duh. You know what I mean? That's pretty no-brainer, pretty good, okay? It's just like middle line good. So I mean, like if you're going Fortitude, you're probably going all the way with Fortitude if you're going to pick this class because you want Machine Gunner maxed out. So obviously you're going to go all the way. And then you'll get into the good perks. Now this is the first good perk. This is damage. So it says reduce HP loss by 5%. That's another way of saying damage reduction. So the same thing armor does. So this gives you the same damage reduction as like primitive. Yeah, 7.9. So this is just like another piece of armor for a skill point. So if you're going for that hybrid, like the outlier perks, this would be one I would say is worth it. 20% chance last to get stunned. So that means like out of 1 every 5 hits that stun you, 1 won't. And then that means 1 out of every 5 hits. That's like greatly increasing your likelihood you do not die. This is a lot of value to get for 1 point. Plus then if also you're doing a fortitude class, going all the way down, you're getting 25% damage reduction for free. And you cannot get stunned anymore. There's not a lot of things in the game that give as much value as this. So this is like way up there. Like right behind parkour. Just because of that versatility. Then you have another super insanely strong perk. Fast metabolism. Gain 1 health every 35 seconds with natural healing. Critical injuries heal 20% faster. Critical injuries, like a broken leg, 20% faster. Abrasions, 20% faster, etc. Just healing over time, too, is awesome. You know what I mean? Like, that's inherently good. And it goes up every perk. Every 15 seconds, you get a health back. Every 1 second, you get every 1 health every 10 seconds. 1 health every 5 seconds. You know what I mean? You become a unkillable machine as long as you're able to move around. Keep moving around. This coupled with a stuntman, you pretty much, I guarantee you're on max this out, max out healing factor, and max out stuntman, you are winning the game. Nothing's going to kill you. As long as you have your wits about you, you kind of half maintain your stamina bar. Okay? Iron Guard, kind of a noob trap, like I said. Just looting and like having. Let's go to the. This is actually. Let's go to the vending machine here. So when you first start a game, you have 2, 3, 4, 5 plus this stuff. I don't know if it gives you food. A little bit of food, not that important, but still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Access to food. Plus then you have water. Access right here for money. If we look at his inventory,
time, or are you just here to piss
1,
me
2,
off?
3, 4 eggs. You know, eggs are everywhere. They give you 5 food each. Like, it is not
There's
hard.
a fucking door. Why don't you use it?
Thanks, buddy. I will. It's not that hard to get food. So this is kind of one of those noob traps. Like, it's good for noobs, but it also, like, you learn how to get out of it. You'll end up regretting this perk within half an hour. You know what I mean? And then, so that's just a noob trap. And then rule 1 cardio. Again, if I was to rank this stuff, these are all very, I don't know, I couldn't put, these two I would tie for third, and this one would be second, because like I said, stamina is everything. And if you increase your stamina by 30% while you're running, and then if you do that feather trick I taught you before, you could almost sprint by spamming the shift key over and over and over again, and then keep the stamina up forever with that maxed out. But just being able to sprint for 30% faster, and then if you drink a water too, which gives you a 15% stamina regen, you'll have 45% stamina regen, which will give you a consistent sprint, allowing you to like run forever. You know what I mean? Like, that's really strong. So this is really strong. Actually, okay, how I'd rank this is first, second, third. No. First, second, third. But those are all super strong. And if you were to max up this, max this up, and then get a parkour, I think, honestly, you're an unkillable, like, murder machine. And that's, like, a perfect quest build right there. But anyway, let's just move on. Agility. Yeah, archery. Oh, did I go into the weapons? Yeah, I did do weapons. Okay, so for archery... Buddy, I'm trying to talk. Please move on. Thank you. Archery, super strong early game. One of the best, obviously, one of the earliest weapons you get online. Super strong. And it scales up into the medium game pretty strong, so this is a decent one to pick early. Gunslinger is a good medium into late game switch, transition. So once this starts to fall off, it falls off, comes back online, but then falls off again. And then you can kind of go into this, and then archery and this put together are decent. And then comboed with all three of these put together equals like a machine gun. Yeah, I mean, but it takes a little bit more advanced like coordination and like weapon cycling and stuff like that. A little bit more nuance in like the game stage that you're fighting in and stuff like that. Then a machine gun, you could just press the left mouse button and then deal with all the same things that each of these, all three niches that these would take care of. Running gun, really, really strong. No movement penalty when reloading. This is like your #1 killer in the early game as well. You're like, you know, you're backing up because the zombies are coming at you, and you're like, and then you're, oh my god, ran out of ammo. So then you turn to run, but then you know you go to reload. Now you're slow as hell. So this is me sprinting, and now I'm sprinting normally. But that's that's a number. That is a high chance of that's a noob killer. So that like the spray and pray or running gun, sorry, Triggerman, this is very good to go into. Hipfire accuracy is always good as well. Not having to aim down sights allows you to more like snap shoot and like running gun, stuff like that. Plus then, you have the medium armor, which gives you a good segue from light armor if you wanted to go that direction, but it's not 100% necessary. See, like this one, for instance, I feel is a lot better than the heavy armor. I think this one should be like remove movement penalty by 100% and the stamina penalty by 75%, and then I would give this to the heavy armor to really balance it and make those worth it. But other than that, I don't think it's real. Like, I'd have to really look at all the armors and really break them all down, which I still have that save going, so I can do that. I'm just like, we'll talk about it as I look through. But I don't know. These are kind of like lackluster to me, but yeah. Everybody, if you want to be tankier, you don't like really like the. If you get anxious about getting hit, then armor could be for you. So hidden strike, really good. If you want to clear an entire POI without anybody waking up, you want to take your time. These two skills right here are going to allow you, with this maxed out in light armor, moving really slow during the nighttime, you could go through an entire POI without waking up a single person and kill everybody in the POI. And if they do find you, they'll stop looking for you. So this is like you're kind of like your odd in the favorite played Skyrim, your sneak archery Skyrim build. Intellect. Arguably the strongest class in the game. Robotics are super, super strong. They come in a little bit later, but you could deploy, like essentially this is kind of how it goes. Imagine this is the front door to a POI. You could put a turret down here, pointing in the door, go start the POI, wake some enemies up, and then run out behind your turret. And as the zombies file out, your turret will just hit them and stagger them / kill them, and then you can also then just shoot them with your gun here. And it creates like a zone defense, like a very strong... You can do it with spears too and stuff like that. Like you could have a spear right here and then just be stabbing 2 blocks away while the robotics turret is killing everything. And robotic ammo is like super easy to get. All you need is... Oh, it's lead now. They changed it. It is not as easy to get anymore. You have to find lead. It used to be just iron. So you could just break a bed down, break pipes down, scrap everything. Scrap, make it out of this. But now lead actually has more of a use now, and I like that a lot, actually. But that's still cool. So that's very, very strong medium to late game. Plus the sledge turret has very many builds that make AFK bases for Horde Knights if you're into that. I don't really like AFK bases because it kind of defeats the spirit of the game, what I feel. But if you want an AFK base or make a base that like has a little bit better defense, sledge turrets can like push zombies off of bridges while they're running at you, so that you can like they can't get to you as easy. So it makes it a lot. It's just very, very strong. That's what I'm saying. So then this starts off kind of bad, but when you max these out, they scale up very, very much. Like I talk about quest builds. Doubling your quests, getting 20% more dukes, and better trader items. This is like your bread and butter of like your economy. This will make your economy wheel turn around. Like this, like the trader ramps you up. Like than if you're playing outside in the wilderness. You know what I mean? If you're playing like in the mountains by yourself, like I'm gonna have a mountain base. This is where I'm gonna live. I'm gonna live inside this mountain. Like the amount of economic availability you'll have from a mountain versus like a trader is like night and day, and like that's why this starts off not as good, but it gets amazing. Same thing with this, like especially if you're playing in a team. That's why I said before in another video, intellect is a must-have for a playthrough because you're boosting everybody with this perk. So this is a very good perk. Physician, kind of your weakest perk as an intellect, but it's still super good. It's better than most of the other perks in the other trees. Advanced engineering is essential. You need to build forges, you need chemistry stations, you need workbenches. Well, you don't need them, but they make life a lot easier, a lot better, a lot more fun, a lot more engaging because you'll start getting like bullet mills online, all this other stuff, traps and stuff like that. You need steel to upgrade, whatever. Plus then also too, you go into your vehicle progression and you get a bicycle from questing, mini bike parts, but like getting all this stuff online, you get mini bikes, motorcycles, trucks, and then your gyrocopter, so you can fly over the map. You know what I'm saying? Like what, like with, like, I can't say this any, like, I cannot overstate this anymore. Like with these vehicles, the amount of productivity that you're able to, like your product with a motorcycle, you go from 2 houses a day or whatever it is. I'm just saying a number. Whatever you're doing, double it. Whatever you're doing, double it. Double the quest, double the POIs, double the whatever. But just because your travel time is just reduced to like nothing. And travel time and idle time is a lot of what's holding you back from the productivity in this game. And intellect unlocks that, and it makes it very, 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 very good. Lockpicking, I don't know. Kind of lackluster, but whatever. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter. So those are all the classes. So now, quick builds. I would say, like I said before, you're like never gonna die. I would still say everybody Stuntman Rush, no matter what you're doing. Stuntman Rush. It's pretty much free to start the game, and it does like pretty much make you unkillable. Then, if you really wanted to go for like unkillable Rambo, I would get machine. I don't know about machine gunner, but at least I would go into fortitude, get healing factor, cardio, or pain tolerance, healing factor, and cardio. And with those 3 perks, you are now killing machine, and then it doesn't really matter what you go into. But since you're already into fortitude, level up the machine gun and then start prioritizing machine guns or whatever. Or I mean, there's really so many different ways to play. And the build order, I think I covered a lot. I think this is a pretty good start. This will be a good video to put out for today, at least. I think I covered a lot, and I think I like. Hopefully, I know now that I'm saying it, I'm reflecting on everything I said. I can condense a lot of what I said, but I hope I kind of covered a lot of bases here, and like your priority, and help you maybe because I don't know. I'm trying to think of like the new player, but I don't want to tell you what to do. I can tell you some things to go for, but like committing to one attribute is going to do better than like spreading across 3 skills. But so what I would do is I would like commit to one, and then I would just like if you're playing by yourself, your second one should be like if you're not playing fortitude, like the best build order I can think off the top of my head would be like a stuntman rash into a fortitude, make yourself unkillable, and then I would immediately start going into intellect to just increasing advanced engineering and grease monkey. That would be the path I personally chose. But I mean, in my beginner series, I'm just having fun with agility. But still, if I was thinking about like optimized best, like going to give you kill ability and less die ability, that would be like what I would go for. So with that being said, thanks for listening to me rant. Hopefully it was useful, and I was hoping this would be a lot shorter, but I don't think I'm ever going to be that type of guy. So thanks for watching, everybody. The growth of the channel has been crazy. I just hit 1,000 views a day for the past 2 days, and that's been amazing. I really hope that I could become like a voice in the 7 Days community. I love the 7 Days community. Thank you, everybody. Leave your comments down below. Please subscribe. What else? I don't know. Have a nice day.